Ascendant Moon, Rising Venus signs. Welcome to your timeless work, career, and vocation reading. I am your reader, Pisces Moon that I am, Mark Angelo Lyons. Mal for short. They're my initials. Professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions since 1998, 24 years in service at the time of this timeless recording, author of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch. There's a link in the description box. You can preview the first chunk of it for free. A lot of the wisdom that I've learned, a lot of the grace I earned along the way is in that book. So go check it out if you feel so called, because you know what else? I'm also a creator on Patreon, patreon.com/Drawing the Circle, a lovely subscription platform to help us creative types get the support that we need to do what we incarnated to do in this lifetime. At the time of this timeless recording, I've got humans, heroes, angels, witches, immortals, gods, goddesses as my subscription tiers. They get all the extended readings that I do, past, present, into the future. I live stream. It's been every morning for a while now. A cup of coffee, usually a bathrobe, talking about the day's astrological weather, the magical applications, the spiritual implications, and we always end with a little prayer, a little blessing, a little thingy hoo-ha doo-dah to kick off the day, building a lovely community over there. So if you feel so inclined intuitively, just go click the link and check it out. A lot of benefits being served over there, and I love it, and I highly recommend it for artists of all shapes and forms, kinds, whatever you do, go check it out. But if you want more magic, more miracles, more mysticism, more Mal, come Patreon on Patreon with the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, because that's what my parents named me. But you know what? You could just call me Mal. Hey, my fishies. Hey, my mer people. Mer. Last reading of the series that I'm getting back to doing the 8-card draw shadow reads. I am in Saratoga. I am in the screen house here at my parents' house, who went and looked at a house for me to buy, because I'm moving up here if all goes well. It's all back and forth now, so I'm really excited about it. I love the house. A musician and an artist are selling it, so it really fits me very well, but we'll see. You know, only the highest possibilities come to be, whether we envision them or not, in the quantum, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly of it all. So, let's get down to biz here, shall we? Work, career, vocation is really what's called a 3-level of power reading. There is a link in the description box to a YouTube video about the 3 levels of power as taught by Carolyn Myss. That's MYSS. She's a PhD, and these are her archetype cards. A set of archetypal lenses through which you can look at many different areas of your life. In this case, life purpose, aligning your work, how you survive in the world, your career, your internal creativity, your passion, your hunger, your thirst for creativity, and your spiritual calling. There are chakras involved. I'll explain it as we go. That's why I say a prayer and do breath work before I do this, so the right words come out of my mouth to clarify rather than mystify for a change. We're doing 13 cards in this spread. Like I said, chakras will be involved, but we're going to end with my newest deck, The Whispers of Lord Ganesha by Angelo Hartfield, to help remove obstacles in your work, career, vocation schemata. So both feet on the floor if you can. I'm not. I'm sitting in a rocking chair and really digging it. But focus on your breath, if you will. And I will do the best I can to get you the clarity, guidance, grace, information, inspiration, so that you get to align your work, career, vocation, so you can make the money and do your creativity and align your spiritual calling with all of it, hence fulfilling your life purpose. And by watching this video, you are helping me fulfill my life purpose as a mystical artist. Cool. So, I guess that's about it. Enough explanation. Let's get to divination. I'm surrounded by natural beauty everywhere I look. So very tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Let's do this. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. You can hear the koi pond in the distance. I love it. As I call upon the collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through work, career, vocation, the higher selves of all involved, fifth dimension above, eighth chakra and above, as well as the beloved Lord Ganesh, elephant-headed Hindu god of success and prosperity, but mostly known in the West as the remover of obstacles. Please, I need 3 Caroline Myss archetype cards to symbolize, to clarify the dominant 8th chakra archetypes hovering above the head of the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video and receiving this reading for their work, career, vocation. We'll lay them down work, career, vocation, but we're going to read them vocation, career, work. So their first level of power, their survival intuition, the literal world, the physical world, how they survive, right? Some people make their money in their work, some people make it in their career, some people have their career, but they make their money in their work. So what's going on for the Pisces collective? This may include me, I'm open to that. Dominant 8th chakra archetype for work. Second level of power, the career, definitely heart, throat, third eye, crown, dominant dynamic, the emotional, mental, spiritual aspect of it, the world behind our eyes, the feminine energy, where first level is masculine energy, external, this is the internal. We're doing these face down, so there's no cheating on my end. I'm a Pisces moon. And for our vocation, the star that calls us forward, our spiritual calling, our mystical spiritual power, visionary intuition. What's going on there for the Pisces collective in this timeless work, career, vocation read? Okay, you got a wild card family. There are 9 different families. Wild card is one of them. The shapeshifter. Think Sam Merlot, True Blood, right? The shapeshifter is really toxic in its shadow, but really brilliant in its light, as all archetypes are. It's all a sliding scale, a percentage scale from lead to gold, shadow to light, pain to peace. So let's start here. Like I said, 1, 2, 3. We're going to read them 3, 2, 1. In your vocation, you're learning and developing the powers of the shapeshifter. The shadow attribute is what you don't want to look at, don't want to deal with, or if you have looked at it and are dealing with it, you don't want anybody to know. You want to keep it in the shadow. Projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. Now, we all do it. We've all done it, right? So imagine you're at a house party. This is a good way to look at it. So in one room, it's full of conservatives. So suddenly you're a conservative, and then you cross the hall and it's all liberals. So then you become a liberal, like whatever your agenda is in the moment, but they don't know the truth, yeah? The light attribute, what you are shooting for, skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see the potential in everything, and I have that in spades, man. Navigating levels of consciousness, how about physical, emotional, mental, spiritual consciousness alone, let alone the intuitive, visionary stuff, right? Navigating your way through it. Like when you know somebody's lying and you feel it, right? And you can sort of navigate your way through it to find the truth. It's just one example. Okay, so that's your vocation, your spiritual calling. That's the lesson being learned in the career. The Samaritan archetype, a divine family archetype, as in the Good Samaritan. This one has scriptural context to it. The shadow attribute, exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. So that's not really freely given, is it? It's service with a hook in it. Right? It's service bait service. The light attribute you're shooting for refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. Now, usually I see that play itself out with homeless people, right? I do live in New York. Manhattan's intense, but also, you know, it's around the world, homelessness. So how people would rather ignore them, but a good Samaritan would be like, here, man, go eat, right? Spend it wisely, right? So in your career, that could also be people that you would prefer to ignore in your field of career, yeah? We'll see. A lot more cards to hit the table, but in your work in the world, your survival, you have the survival family archetype of the victim, victor. Now in the title I'm going to put victor because that's going to lean more towards the light, but they couldn't put victim, victor. There was a room on the card So everybody has the 4 survival archetypes, right? Even countries, corporations have it, right? It's the trunk of the archetypal tree that if those 4, the child, the victim, victor, the saboteur, empowerer, and the prostitute archetype, which has very little to do with sex, if those 4 are stabilized and healthy. I'm staying with my parents, so I think they forget I'm out here recording, and that's okay. I love them. The victim archetype is very, very specific, and one that everybody has to deal with on a day-to-day basis, particularly as it's a survival archetype in the first level of power, survival intuition. The shadow attribute, playing the victim for positive feedback in form of pity. We've all done it. Inability to maintain personal boundaries. Now, as a Pisces moon, that is tricky. How about personal boundaries in terms of empathy? Like, is this what I'm feeling? Is this what they're feeling? Is this the person next door? Is this what the majority of the people on the planet are feeling? Pisces is 12th house, the collective unconscious, right? The depth of the ocean that unites all continents. So if you consider yourself an empath, this could have to do with that. The light attribute prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. Because there is a certain psychological truth that all victimizers must have been victimized. They learned it somewhere. I mean, it can't all be past life bleed through, can it? Maybe it can. I don't know. So you are you are the shape-shifting Samaritan victor. We're going to use the word victor. We're going to keep this on a high note, more dolphin than shark. But now we have the archetypal bones upon which we can lay the rest of the cards, like the next 4 chakras down, right? We got the 8th chakra. By the way, your vocation is 8th chakra dominant, right? The star that guides you, your inspiration and all that. Now we're going to look at the crown, the third eye, the throat, and the heart, your spiritual power, your mental power, your willpower, power of choice and decision, right? What you will, what you won't, right? Your choices, spit, swallow, or chew. And your emotional power, which I think is right on target for a Pisces read. Daughters of the Moon Tarot, please take a nice deep breath. Still point. As I call upon my goddesses of water, the sign of Pisces, powers of the West, please 3 cards in clarity for the Piscean collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, watching this video, receiving this reading. It's hard to do with my eyes closed when I'm not at my dining room table. We're going to lay them down, work, career, vocation, face down, but we're going to read them vocation, career, work. So, heart, throat, third eye, crown, internal world, feminine energy, the world behind the eyes, the psychological world with the victim, victor, archetype in their work. Leave the card in my hand. Heart, throat, third eye, crown for the Pisces collective in their work, in the physical world, their career. The Samaritan, heart, throat, third eye, crown, dominant. This is really the lane where this particularly pertains. Samaritan, divine family archetype, what's going on underneath that? Heart, throat, third eye, crown, because the 8th chakra beams down the lessons and the codes, changes the electromagnetic dynamics of all the chakras underneath it so that you stay on track. It can be delayed, but it can't be prevented. My guides have been saying, do you want to heal this today, tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now, next life, 10 lives from now? It can be delayed but not prevented. So this is to kind of help with that. And in the vocation for the Pisces collective, we have got the shapeshifter in their spiritual calling in the 8th. What's going on? Heart, throat, third eye, crown there. The strength card. Loving that. When it is a major arcana card in a spread like this, where, you know, only one card is representing 4 chakras, it's all 4 at once. Though we have to admit, the card speaks of courage, internal strength, not so much, you know, picking up a chaise lounge and throwing it across the lawn, right? That kind of strength. Courage, fortitude, bravery. But when do we ever really have to do that unless there is some fear, some challenge there? And it takes great challenge to navigate different levels of consciousness, even in the lightest of the light of that archetype. For example, a lot of my clients are into star seeds and, you know, the intergalactic wars and all that stuff. And, you know, I used to work in the metaphysical New Age industry back in the 90s, and that stuff was everywhere. And I used to file it all under tinfoil hat woo-woo land, right? So, you know, it's scary stuff, you know. I'm a top. Don't you dare anal probe me. I'm not into it. No. Not without dinner and drinks, at least, right? So the ability to navigate, particularly if you're into the paranormal, right? It takes great psychological strength to handle that stuff, considering most hauntings are residual, right? The energy left behind, just as an example, but I think for some of you that might be what you're dealing with. So let's look at the career. You got the Samaritan, the 8th. Excellent. 6 of Pentacles, success. Now this is a Paralympics, it's a Special Olympics race, whatever you want to call it, which, yes, takes incredible balance. 6s are numbers of balance, but the key word here is success, like success under handicap. Now, with a Samaritan, that might very much say that the wisdom you have gained from being in the world, when it's earth on the inner, it's about the wisdom that you gain from experience in the world that cannot be taken from you. It is in a place of balance. You have what it takes to really nail this archetype by what? Refining your capacity to help others you would prefer to ignore. And that could be family members too. I mean, it's all connected, right? Friends, people you just don't want to deal with. But in terms of your career, we all have those people we would prefer to ignore. You know, coworkers, right? Competitors, that kind of stuff. But with that keyword of success there, the more that you are able to find the good Samaritan within yourself, the more you will be able to move forward in a balanced way. Loving that. For the victim-victor in their work, you've got the 10 of Blades on the inner, which is the 10 of Swords, but not that stabby, 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 stabby card. This is the ancient tradition of the talking stick called the rattle, right? You've got 10 women sitting in a teepee. One holds the talking stick, the rattle. That's the one who talks. Everybody else has to listen. So if this were external, it could very much be that. But heart, throat, third eye, crown, I think we're really looking at third eye here. All the pieces of the puzzle coming together, right? Particularly if you are working on your boundaries, this can very much be an understanding in the third eye, sometimes by looking back on our work experiences, that we can see, oh yeah, I had that toxic boss or whatever, right? And as a result, it made me healthy. Like, I understand that now, so that you can better ward yourself, better protect yourself, and not victimize others, because 9 times out of 10, people do to others what was done to them, and not in a good way. That's why the golden rule, do unto others as you have them do unto you, is probably a better trajectory, a better work ethic, one would think. But I love the artwork in this card, right? 10 women really coming to resolution for the well-being of all in the tribe. And what if that's the human tribe? Driveway right on the other side of the fence. So imagine that being alchemized in the physical world, right? More people having healthy boundaries, victimizing people less, as well as not letting themselves be victimized because of a real mental third eye completion and understanding. I like that. I like it. But now let's look at the lower 3 chakras with the Mythic Tarot. This is the physical world from the outside looking in at you. You know, you step out, look at yourself like in a mirror. Could be you from the outside looking in at any person, place, or thing, because the lower 3 chakras are about your relationships in the physical world. Root chakras, groups, tribes, family, right? Neighborhood. I'm a New Yorker. That's tribal, right? Any group that you associate with 3 or more, including the human race, your ancestry, whatever, that's tribal dynamic root chakra. Second chakra, one-on-one relationship to another person or thing. Money, sex, power. So this is where the financial external stuff can show up, as well as your relationship to yourself in the solar plexus, your honor code. What you will, what you won't, what you do, what you don't, no matter what anybody else is doing, how you see yourself in the world, who you want to be in the world, right? Let's see what hits the table. breathe. Still point. As I call to my gods of water, the sign of Pisces, powers of the West, please 3 cards in clarity for the Piscean collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video and receiving this reading. Lower 3 chakra dynamic. Very, very first level of power, but their relationships in the world, that kind of stuff, outside looking in, inside looking out. We'll put them down 1, 2, 3. We'll read them 3, 2, 1. They've got the victim, victor in their work. 10 of Blades, resolution, the rattle on the inner. We'll put this face down. What's going on in their lower 3 chakras for literal level of power, survival, intuition. This one is lower 3 chakra dynamic, first level of power. For their career, they've got the Samaritan. 6 of Pentacles, loving that. Every reading has usually a leverage point of one of the 3. I think your Samaritan in your career with that 6 of Pentacles might be it. But what's that look like? Inside out, outside in. Lower 3 chakra dynamic. And for their vocation with the shapeshifter, that because it's vocation to be able to navigate different levels of consciousness, physical, intuitive, emotional, mental, spiritual, mystical, with the strength card, definitely about courage and perseverance, and maybe keeping your heart open throughout, which takes immense courage and bravery always, not just nowadays. So let's see what that one is. Lower 3 chakra dynamic for the Piscean collective. 5 of Swords. So there is some mental back and forth here, maybe some confusing information, something conflicting. Here's Apollo saying, look, you better do this or else. He's like, but I don't want to, but if I don't, he gets caught between the Furies and Apollo at one point in the 8 of Swords. So there may be some differences of opinion, some arguments going on here. And I would say this is probably one-on-one relationship with another person. If you're dealing with a larger group or corporation, it could be tribal. But the 5 of Swords always says to me, particularly with the 10 of Blades on the inner here in your physical world, that this might very well be about your honor code, right? What you will put up with, what you won't, what you will say and what you won't say. Are you going to be upright and truthful and honest, even, and more importantly, can you see things from their point of view, navigating different levels of consciousness? And you can see somebody's point of view without sacrificing your courage, right? It takes courage to do it, but that doesn't mean you have to do what they want to placate, but you can maybe see where they're coming from for conflict resolution. All right? Okay. For your career, as we said, we got the Samaritan. Maybe there's somebody you would rather ignore with that 5 of Blades, right? So we got the Samaritan. With success and moving forward, the balance and equal give and take of the 6 of Pentacles, and on the outer, the Chariot. Aries in this, the light horse of inspiration, the dark horse of motivation. It's like, oh, I love what I do, and oh god, I gotta get out of bed and pay the bills. Right? Balancing those, and look at the forward motion here. Right, we've got the Chariot, as well as we've got the wheelchairs here in crossing the finish line. So there is forward motion here, but I'm going to say it has to do really with refining your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. I don't know what that is. Let's just keep going. Because in your work, first level of power, the victim victor, let's shoot for the victor, particularly with that mental resolution. All the pieces of the puzzle are on the table, but they all are starting to fit together. With the King of Wands, our one and only court card here on the table. And this is the Aries card, right? This is initiatory, first sign of the zodiac, the personality, the ego, the sense of self. And this could be somebody that you're dealing with here. Does not have to be an Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or any of that, but is an initiator. When I do team building, I usually get an Aries to start with and then a Capricorn to finish the job, right? That's just how I roll. But this could be you from the outside looking in, regardless of Aries placement, where it can be like, no, I want to do something new. I'm doing this for myself. I'm going to stand my ground with the Ace of Wands in my hand and not let anybody cross my boundaries, but hopefully I'm not going to cross anybody else's either. I'm going to maintain them, right? Prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others, because you see. Now, I have been in business situations where people, like I said, sometimes just plain old tinfoil hat woo land. Well, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Yeah, but your participation is necessary, right? I've been in the metaphysical, spiritual, pagan industry for decades and decades and decades. And how many spells are you going to cast until you actually follow the inspiration, bring it all together, and take action in the world? Which is definitely feel like it's happening in your career, though perhaps dealing with some people you'd rather not deal with, but being able to see where they're coming from, even if you don't agree, but to understand, oh yeah, well, they've been burnt before. Of course they're argumentative, right? Or they're afraid that, I'm going to say 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Just read it. It's a good book. A lot of people have read it. Doesn't mean they necessarily apply it. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Make no assumptions and do your best, right? Well, you can see things from other people's point of view without closing the door on them forever. But nor do you have to then take it personally. Everybody's got their own stories going on, but the majority of the stories and the majority of people, they don't even know that's what's running the show. Maybe you can do that and run your own show here. Interesting. Remember, people do to others what was done to them until they snap out of it. And do you want to be the dolphin or the shark? Do you want to be Flipper or Jaws? Well, thankfully, we've got the Matt Kahn Healing Mantra deck. Getting 3 of those. No bookie books for these. Not reading from the bookie book, saving the bookie book for the Lord, the Whispers of Lord Ganesh. But these are healing mantras to help you kind of balance the chakra flow, heal, align the 8 chakras here in your work, career, vocation. And there's a fun way to read them. We'll get there when we get there. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. As it's so interesting doing it outside. Kids. As I call upon the Ascended Masters of Life Purpose through the archetypal lenses of work, career, and vocation, please, 3 healing mantras, the perfect, the most accurate healing mantra cards for the Piscean collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video and receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. I'm going to try not to look at them, all 3 of them on the table. We're going to start with their work. They got the victim, Victor, 10 of Blades on the inner, Ace of Wands, King of Wands, the Aries card, just feels like an ace because it's the first sign of the zodiac. Initiatory, this very well could be them, really busted a move here in the physical world with the element of fire. The perfect healing mantra for that, please. For their career, they've got the Samaritan in the 8th, 6 of Pentacles on the inner, the success under handicap, meaning they're not quite all the way home, but they're gaining momentum in a balanced way, with the Chariot on the outside O, and we've got Aries driving the Chariot, A-R-E-S, and the Aries, A-R-I-E-S card on the in lower 3 chakras for their work. So we've got a symbolic archetypal link there. What's the perfect healing mantra for the Pisces dealing with that? And for their vocation, they've got the Shapeshifter in the 8th, strength on the inner, which is very important, right, to get the inspiration, right, to follow your spiritual path, enact your calling in your vocation. But with them 5 of Swords on the outer, it can be argumentative, confusing, a conflict of ideas. So what do we got there? The perfect healing mantra to help them heal this in their work, career, and vocation. Schemata, archetypally speaking. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the names of the mantras on one side, then flip it and look at the mantras themselves. So, in your vocation, you are expressing free will. I'm pretty sure the Aquarius got this in the same one, but I did it yesterday and I've shuffled the cards since. My choices determine how brightly I shine. Throat chakra, throat chakra, throat chakra. My choices, my willpower, what I will, what I won't, what I do, what I don't. Spit, swallow, or chew. And there ain't nothing wrong with chewing, right? You chew off the edges of that jagged little pill if you gotta swallow it. In your career, the Samaritan, 6 of Pentacles on the inner, Chariot on the outer, untangling neglect, I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire, which means you've maybe not been getting the approval. Not that we need it from others, it's just nice to have, but there's a certain frequency of love, of approval, of compassion, like a radio frequency, a specific frequency that we can only give ourselves. So the tangle of neglect. See, abuse is usually easy to catch, right? Physical, emotional, mental, sexual abuse, financial abuse, it's overt, it's masculine. That's masculine energy toxicity. Neglect is often the feminine dynamic, and it's harder to catch because it's subtle, it's just not there. So it creates a tangle of what am I doing wrong, and why can't I get this done? Why don't I have what I need? Why do they say they're going to do it and not do it? All of that falls into that category. So this might very well be you taking the reins of this and saying, I don't need their approval. I can untangle neglect, giving myself all the approval I desire. Which is mirror work, which is all sorts of stuff. I highly recommend the work of Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. Huge book, read it back in the 80s when it first came out. And she said 500 times a day, silently tell yourself or even aloud, I approve of myself. So what I did is I took when the saints come marching in, I approve of myself, I approve of myself, I approve of myself. And at first it seems silly, but it's a gift. It's a gift you give yourself, and then it's so much easier to give it to others. And you got a bingo card here in your work, right? Victim, victor, 10 of blades on the inner, King of Wands on the outer, amplifying abundance. Abundance is my birthright and I receive it now. Hey, abundance is my birthright and I receive it now. So in terms of the money, it feels like if you align vocation and you align, this is really where your leverage is in your career, then it seems like all that you need is ready for you. But there is a condition to this card. I know it from reading the bookie book 8 billion times. Abundance is not having more than enough. It's the agreement that you will receive all that you need in abundance as you shine your light, your truth at full capacity. And I make that prayer every time I do a reading. You guys just don't see it because it's before I hit record. So you could say, in your work, you're amplifying abundance. In your career, you're untangling neglect. And in your vocation, you're expressing free will. But it's also to say that your choices determine how brightly you shine in your vocation, and you can take the time to give yourself all the approval you desire in your career, and in abundance is your birthright, and you receive it now in your work. Pretty good. pretty good. And it feels like a lot of this is returning power to you, right? Regardless of what other people say or do. Look, I'm a mystical artist. I'm pretty sure I got shadow banned on YouTube, but obviously I'm still on YouTube. Blessed be. It's not personal. I chose not to take it personally. But that's what got me over to Patreon, right? Don't worry, I'm not going to pop up the URL again. I'll do that at the end. Right? Because I was feeling neglected by the platform. Because you can say like one word and the computer picks it up and then people can't find your... I mean, I watched my numbers drop overnight. I was like, what did I do? And I still worked at it for a year. You know what I'm saying? Just pounding out the readings. No. So it was a necessary part of the plan. And I was like, no, I am good at what I do. I've been reading cards since I'm 12 years old. Oh my God, on September 6th, I'm going to be 54, just like the studio. So, I started giving myself all the approval I desire. So I can relate to this, Pisceans. We're very heart-centered, mostly, and very intuitive and empathic, mostly. But that doesn't mean we have to like everything that happens, but it certainly drives us into ourselves, where we can take our power back. So, thing about spiritual alchemy with them archetype cards, if you look at the shadow side is lead, the shadow attribute, and the light attribute is gold, there are 3 atoms in lead, what is it? Lead has 3 more atoms than gold, so you could think of those as metaphoric, symbolic, archetypal blockages that Lord Ganesh is going to give you a little guidance, grace, love, wisdom, and power to remove those. Might be done gently, though. It's not always a rampaging elephant. Please take a nice deep breath. Still point. Because we've got our last card down as I call to the beloved Lord Ganesh, Lord Ganesha, elephant-headed god of the Hindus, god of success and prosperity and joy and abundance, but mostly known here in the West as the remover of obstacles, just like how an elephant can bump up against a tree and knock it out of the way. Please, beloved one, what is your guidance, grace, love, wisdom, and power, your oracle message to help remove obstacles for the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, and vocation? Drive. He's got a chariot. Looks like pulled by boars, and here you are with the chariot. Do you see? Do you see? Are they going in opposite directions? No, they're kind of even sort of going in the same direction. I wouldn't go so far as to call that a double whammy, but I would say that's awfully close, visually speaking. Let's read this. Just drive, he said. Just drive, he said. Flashback to the 80s, big time. Skipped right over it. 11, 12, look, I can read. 13, 14, drive, confidence, as well as unity of purpose and control are desirable. Unity of purpose. What's driving you with that Aries on the outer? Ganesha urges you to think about getting back to the basics. It's a great time to lighten your load or simplify your life. You may have had a tendency to overextend yourself or overcommit to social activities. Cut back on your schedule so you can zero in on something that you are called to do. Like your calling, right? Shapeshifter, seeing things from different levels of consciousness, but also that drive of that Six of Pentacles to cross that finish line as you untangle neglect. This card indicates new motivation or inspiration. If you've been feeling stuck in a situation or in finding a solution, 10 of Blades on the inner, first level of power, rest assured, the energy is going to start moving again. You do not have to choose to go alone on your path. Make sure that if you do bring others with you, that they have the same goals and objectives in mind, and that might be that Five of Swords in terms of your spiritual calling. Pay attention not to linger in relationships or friendships that are going nowhere, or settle just because you feel obligated. Love has no obligations. Don Miguel Ruiz's second book, I think, Mastery of Love. He's right. Unconditional love has no obligation. This is not a time to be complacent. If you want to create changes in your work, well, go figure. That's what we're talking about. Explore what your options might be. There might be an increase in finances, but this is not a time to be spending money. Bide your time and prepare for what is coming. This might also indicate that a trip or extended travel is on the horizon with the chariot and drive, and yeah, no question. If you can really, quote-unquote, master, alchemize that Samaritan archetype, there are people you would rather ignore. Everybody's got people, like even on the TV. no shade to Sarah McLachlan, but every time I hear that song right on the TV coming, no, sad, wounded kitties and puppies, I dive for it, because I've got 3 black cats that came to me, right? My whole family is all about the fur family. So that's just an example. It's like, I know, but I can't take every black cat in, because they are the least adopted, so... My boys, I miss them. I will see them in a few days. So, we're going to put this together in what's called a blessimation. Oh, I left Torch of Ariel up in the guest room. Oh well. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, the chords. Yeah, the blessing chords are over in the bag. Tough. Don't need them. They're just externalizations of my own interior energy structure, darling. So, we're going to summarize this and give you a blessing at the same time, and then we'll chat at the end if you want to hang around as I release the reading. Someone's mowing their lawn. Oh, yeah, it's okay. I can talk over anything. I'm part Italian. Please take a nice deep breath. Right, Diana? Bombshell, Wonder Woman. Breathe. Still point. As I call upon the collective pantheons of the divine, for the Piscean collective sun, moon, rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation, may they be blessed with all that they need, so that in their vocation, they can discover their skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, with the ability to see the potential in everything. That takes immense strength and courage on the inside to maintain that trajectory, particularly if there are arguments, disagreements, gossip, chatter, caca going on in the mental field. So all they have to do is express their free will, their choices, determining how brightly they shine. So in that vocation can plug right in to their career. May they be blessed with their ability to refine their capacity to help those they would prefer to ignore, because there is great internal balance and success available to them to move forward in their career on the inside, as well as move forward with the Chariot in the outside world, as they perpetually and continually untangle and neglect, taking the time to give themselves all of the approval they desire, because particularly in management, if management is always praising you, usually they want you to do more. But if they're not, right, then they're trying to make you work harder, right, to improve. Instead of saying you are doing a great job, they say, well, you know, right? So untangle that for themselves, giving themselves all the approval that they desire in their heart. Their third eye crown dynamic, only they can do self-acceptance. Anybody can only do self-acceptance and self-approval for themselves, so that they really master this victim archetype into victory, that they may be prevented from letting themselves be victimized or victimizing others as a result of a mental resolution. 10 of Blades on the inner, in the third eye, as they initiate, as they move forward. As Ganesh said, that drive is necessary. There's new things coming, but they might have to let go of some people, places, and things so that they can amplify their abundance. Why? Because as they shine their light, their truth, their authenticity into the world, abundance is their birthright, and they receive it now. And with the removing of obstacles through drive, paring down, focusing, getting not just their motivation, but their inspiration, their life calling, aligned with their career, aligned with their work in the world, that they are able to manifest their best path forward, their work, career, vocation, their life purpose, fully manifest bit by bit along the hero's journey for their well-being and for the well-being of all. And with harm to none, as we will it. So let it be done. So mote it be. And so it is. Yay! That was a good one. I guess I'm taking a break after this, aren't I? Did you like it? Hit the thumbs up, like it, help the other fishy family find it. And if you want more of me here on YouTube, subscribe. Obviously, it's not about the numbers, but it does help the Piscean collective find the reading. It's just how the algorithm works. I wish it was otherwise. But, you know, everybody gets what they need sooner or later. It can be delayed but not prevented. And if you want the deeper experience, more magic, more miracles, more mysticism, more Malcolm, Patreon on Patreon. It is my favorite thing. And it's going to be here in November at the time of this recording that I started over on Patreon, and I have no regrets whatsoever. I am very, very happy, very, very thrilled. So if you'd like to join my community over there, and we got a lot of Pisceans, actually, Pisceans that I've known for a very, very long time, and some of them are watching this right now. Hello, 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 my mer people, my fish family. I love you so much. And if you want to book, I can't leave that hanging up in my mom's gazebo screen house thing, can I? That would be a problem. She'd be hitting her head on it. We can't let that happen. But if you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link in the description box. Booking a reading with Mal explains it all for you, just like Clarissa. Otherwise, wishing you all the very, very best of your alignment, your work, career, vocation. Do it. Do it. Have at it. Ask for help as needed, but cut some people out of your life. That ain't serving. Wishing you the very best and the very blessed of all of this. I love you. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.